All right, so new normal has in fact been put in place about the cost of terror. And to tell us more, my colleague Rahesha Sehgal gets you the details.
Thanks, Saleh. Now, India has set a new normal for Pakistan. This is what government sources have told WION. Let us now take you through what the new normal is between India and Pakistan. What are the red lines that India has now drawn? Number one, the cost of terror has been increased. Apart from that, Pahalgam terror attack was a big line crossed and there has to be a cost. That's the statement from New Delhi. They fire, we fire, they stop, we stop. That's what's the statement from New Delhi, which comes under the new normal between India and Pakistan. Then, full authority to army commanders for counter-action in the kinetic domain. Let's also now tell you what is India's big message to Pakistan. Number one, we will hit you in your heartland. That's what India's message is for Islamabad. Apart from that, we haven't lost sight of anyone involved in terror against India. Then, talks only between DGMOs and not NSAs between New Delhi and Islamabad. And talks only on two issues between India and Pakistan. Number one, handling over Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And number two is, of course, terrorists responsible for terror attacks against India. Let's also now tell you what's India's message to the world. If Pakistan does anything, it will get a response more devastating than anything else. And there should be no doubt we will hit terror targets in Pakistan. Apart from that, this is a very important message that India has sent to the world, and it's you cannot equate victims and perpetrators of terror. Even-handedness won't be tolerated. And India to present evidence to 1267 Sanctions Committee, that's against Pakistan as well. Military-wise, what are all India's objectives achieved under Operation Sindoor? How India has emerged victorious. Military-wise, Bhavalpur, Muridke, Muzaffarabad. Now, all these three terror hubs, they were eliminated in 30 minutes. That's what the Indian Army has told us. When we talk about the political victory that India has achieved over Pakistan, the Indus Waters Treaty and abeyance till terror stops. And the psychological victory that India has gained will strike deep in Pakistan, promise filled. So India has clearly said that India will strike deep inside Pakistan, and that was proven with Operation Sindoor. All right, so these were the major objectives. Back to you, Saleh.
Well, thanks, Rahesha. So this is, of course, a new normal that has now been put in place because the Indian government has now made it clear the cost of carrying out terror attacks in India is now going to be much, much higher. But the question, of course, is this. Is this now going to be enough of a deterrence for Pakistan, which, remember, for the last 3 to 4 decades has been following this bizarre war with 1,000 cuts on India and has been backing these elements who carry out terror attacks in India? Now, to give us more perspective on this, we're joined in this broadcast by retired Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, who's joining us live on this broadcast. General Kulkarni, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us here. And let me start off by asking you this. Considering the events that have transpired in the course of the last week, you know, the Indian government has changed its approach to acts of terror that emanate from Pakistan. Now, the Indian government's message is very clear that an act of terror is going to be tantamount to an act of war, and India is going to hit back really hard at Pakistan. Do you think India has set up enough deterrence to Pakistan to not carry out these kinds of acts of terror in the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the message is loud and clear that there is no doubt to Pakistan that Pakistan, under no circumstances, can continue using terrorism as an instrument of its policy. And therefore, any act of terror will be seen as that of war. And necessary and action that would be taken by the government of India, I think Pakistan would have got the message loud and clear, because it is only now that Pakistan would have realized it. And despite the claims that have been made from within Pakistan, including their defense minister, to say that, well, Pakistan has actually been indulging in training terrorists, have also, maybe at the behest of the United States of America, not just now, but for the last 3 decades. The ex-foreign minister, Bilal, also accepted that, yes, we have a past in terms of terrorism is concerned, and therefore the cost has to be raised. Pakistan now understands, I hope Pakistan understands, that India means business, and enough is enough. Pakistan cannot continue to use terror as an instrument of state policy and claim to be victim, whereas they're actual perpetrators. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you point out that, yes, the Pakistanis, in fact, claim that they are victims of terror because of the attacks that take place within their own territory. But the fact of the matter is this, you know, different Pakistani leaders, the most recent one was Khwaja Asif, their sitting defense minister. Before that, Imran Khan, when he was the prime minister, he had admitted to this. Nawaz Sharif had admitted to this. General Musharraf had admitted to the fact that Pakistan uses these, you know, non-state actors who are effectively instruments of state, and this policy of terror that is employed to achieve Pakistan's, you know, objectives in the Kashmir Valley. Even though they know that what they're doing is something that is not acceptable in the international community, they still follow this as a legitimate kind of a policy which different Pakistani leaders have followed over the course of the last 4 decades. What do you think is actually now going to change?
See, Musharraf has claimed it, and he stated openly that Pakistan has been training, and that may be to be a co-partner with the United States of America. He himself said that, well, they have mercenaries, they have trained Taliban, and that they have even trained Mujahideens. So all these, he says, after the Soviet Union were pushed back by the Americans, and there were more than thousands and thousands and thousands of them, he said, what do we do with them? Imran Khan has admitted that there are over 20,000 and much more of these terrorists in Pakistan. So I think the only way that Pakistan alone can rein these terrorists, because Pakistan is the one which is, the perpetrators of all of it. And hence, Pakistan Army, the very fact that the Secretary of State, Rubio, had to speak to Munir was indicator that the only control is with the Pakistan Chief of the Army Staff. There is no doubt about that. And also, after the terrorists were killed, the fact that each one of them were wrapped in the national flag of Pakistan, given almost a state funeral, is indicative the hand-in-glove policy of the terrorists and the Pakistan Army. In fact, they are not, the whole lot of them are terrorists, and all these, whether we call them Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Resistance Front, Kashmir Tigers, and none but the fronts of the Pakistan Army. And Pakistan, otherwise why else would generals and everyone stand for funeral? Why else would Masood Azhar say, yeah, I wish I had died along with my family? Indicative that the fear of God has been instilled in Pakistan, that it is enough. If they spread terror, they shall get it back. I hope, I say again and again, I sincerely hope Pakistan stops all this. Only then can it be a good neighbor. If Pakistan continues with it, irrespective of whatever it is, the cost will be extremely, extremely high, and that has been proved. The Pakistan nuclear bluff also has been called off. Pakistan's, the way we have gone about, our main aim was against terror. There's nothing that we wanted. Those 9 terrorist locations were the target. And that, in turn, we had achieved with no collateral damage or civilian casualties. And no military installation was even targeted. Only terrorists. And in that, about 100 of them died. But what did Pakistan do? They retaliated. And retaliated doing what? Hitting Indian military airfields and also civilian targets, resulting in further retaliation by the Indian Army. And hence, you find that there's been a total loss of face for Pakistan.
Absolutely, indeed. General Kulkarni, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.